welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering entrepreneurs such as yourself, bringing you expert voices from across the globe and here in India, whether it's government, whether it's academia, whether it's just your peers giving you their growth journeys. I'm Sunanda Jaisil. On the show tonight, an interview with the Cabinet Minister for Forests, Environment and Power, Government of Meghalaya, James Sangma. Joining us on the show exclusively for the first time ever, talking about why he's so passionate about the environment, talking about opportunities for small businesses, PPP when it comes to environment and sustainability, and also his advice for some of the areas that entrepreneurs can look at going forward. Listen in. James, first off, looking at the environment and sustainability is something that is not just what you do in your capacity as a minister who's responsible for this, but also in your personal life. And I follow you on Twitter, and I was just looking at some of the posts that you put out, and you're so passionate and you're an ardent supporter of the environment and of sustainability. Why is it so important for you? What do you want to tell us?
I just wanted to introduce the region where I come from. I think it's important to set the context. Uh, I come from a very small state in the northeastern part of India, as you all know. It's called Meghalaya. And what many people don't know is that Meghalaya is one of the 34 out of the 34 biodiversity hotspots in the world. We are one of them. And we have a very fragile ecosystem that is in Meghalaya, and we see how climate change is, ravaging the entire world, and also, having that huge impact on us. Of late, we've had these floods. We've been battling these floods and these massive landslides that have taken human lives, and other impacts of climate change. And you know, to come from a state which is in this, unique biodiverse region, hotspot, I think that for me, I feel that when I look at the intergenerational inequity, that this is a responsibility for me as a father to ensure that we leave behind, uh, as a responsible citizen, a world for our children, and a world in which they can all live in harmony and peace, and also try to rectify the kind of the damage that has already been caused. So I think that our children are going to be very unforgiving because of the kind of damage that we as their parents have done to this planet. And that's why I'm extremely passionate about the environment. And we see how Meghalaya being a biodiversity hotspot, uh, the kind of services and the kind of impact that we can have on the rest of the world, starting from our small state. So basically that in a nutshell. Yeah.
So even as you're talking about Meghalaya as a biodiversity hotspot, another hotspot that Meghalaya and the entire Northeast, in fact, is a hotspot for is that of tourism. Now, whenever you talk about tourism hotspots, you're usually thinking surging crowds, perhaps little respect for the local places that you're visiting, perhaps little respect for the culture of the places that you're visiting. How does sustainability, how does a focus on the environment then go hand in hand really with encouraging tourism and encouraging sustainable tourism?
Yes, that is the challenge that I think any tourist hotspot will face. Um, Tourists thronging in hundreds, thousands, and most of them don't have that kind of, well, for lack of better word, etiquette of respecting the place which they are visiting, respecting the culture, and having that sense of responsibility. So that's an unfortunate side of mass tourism. But I think this is a challenge that we face on a day-to-day basis, and we are trying in our best possible way to sensitize our guests who come to our state without hurting their feelings. But I think when you compare this with other industries, right? So Meghalaya has predominantly been an industry which, I mean, I don't hesitate in saying that has been very extractive. Uh, One of the principal revenue earners or generators for the state has been mining, because we are also a very natural resource rich state. So we have a lot of coal, we have a lot of limestone, and industries which are linked to limestone, coal, and other natural resources. So, when you compare this with the kind of extractive industries like mining and stuff like that, I think tourism is far, far more sustainable and a better option for us. Yes, it may have a certain negativity to it in terms of mass tourism, but I think comparatively speaking, it is much better for us than these kind of industries. And that is what we want to promote, the sustainability side of things. And I think that that way, I embrace the negativity. We try to improve on it. We try to bring about sensitization. And, in the larger picture, I think that serves us better.
How do you look at the role and the position of tourism, sustainability, and the environment when it comes to the future and when it comes to the economy of Meghalaya?
Yeah, I mean, uh, personally for me, COVID has been my reckoning because, I mean, when you see the institutional collapse of everything around you, and then you realize, what is more important. I think that uh, not just me, I think many people all across the world must have faced that kind of realization. And for me, COVID was that realization of that we need to do something, and I need to gear up and pull my socks up and do something about it. So when you look at that, then you realize, yes, as you rightly said, tourism is a very big advantage, and something that is available to us. We are surrounded by natural beauty. We have extremely pristine air and water, and it's a natural draw for a lot of people who want to get away from the hustle and bustle, from the pollution of the cities, and come and enjoy the really lovely weather that we have. The climate is very temperate. I think that that is the strength that we need to work upon, and we are working upon. I'm sorry, we are working upon that strength, and we are building upon it. And I think that's the way forward for us as a state, to see how tourism and its ancillaries can be really pushed. And there are so many ways of making sure that whatever we're doing, we improve upon it. We have a reimagining of how tourism should be post-COVID. And that's an exercise that we are doing right now.
James, I have to take a quick commercial break. We are back in just a moment. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and our Leaders of Tomorrow icon tonight is James Sangma. Congratulations, James, on receiving the Peter Award. And one would have never perhaps correlated pineapples with leather, vegan leather, of course. But that's an innovative area that you decided to focus in. So congratulations on that, and congratulations for the award. And my question really is to try and understand from you, the broader idea behind the innovation, and what other innovative areas perhaps are you working on? Because as the minister who's looking at environment and sustainability, what else are you working on?
Yeah, I mean, of course, vegan leather is something it's a great idea, and this is something that's picking up in our state. And I'm happy for the recognition, because what it does is it also brings about this um, sense of awareness among people that there are technologies which are eco-friendly and can bring about an alternative for everybody. So I think we don't want to rest on our laurels, but we want to amplify that, the messaging basically, that technology is available. We need to tap into technology to come up with these kind of other ways and means by which we can reduce our carbon footprint. But apart from vegan leather, we have so many other interventions we're doing. So we're coming up with this idea and concept of a um, an environment first economy, a forest first economy, whereby it is dictated by our natural capital that we have, and how we can monetize that natural capital which is available to us. So to do that, we have to first of all start by uh, inventorizing what our natural capital is. And I think that for us as a state in Meghalaya, yes, we are known as a biodiversity hotspot, but then uh, we need to collect and collate that data. So we are coming up with this biodiversity heat map, and it's an AI based heat map. And this is something whereby we will be able to inventorize the natural stock or the natural capital that we have. We are going into other innovations, as in bioremedial measures. So we feel that a lot of the problems relating to environment, solutions can be found in nature itself. And we just recently have scaled up a pilot project which we had for a acid mine drainage affected river. So we have coal mining, as I told you, and limestone mining, and a lot of water, because we have such heavy rainfall in the state. A lot of water. There's a
Sure.
mix with the coal, which is very high in sulfur, and with the limestone, and then this spills over to the rivers, and rivers are very badly affected because the pH balance goes for a toss. So we came up with these bioremedial measures called phycoremediation, which uses algae to correct the pH balance of our rivers. And that was a pilot phase. But we have now scaled that up, and we're taking up a lot of the other rivers also. Two other rivers have been taken on, and we plan to scale this up to include all the rivers which have been affected by AMD. So this is something that we are working with. Then, in terms of climate change and its impact, uh, I mean, everyone would agree that we need to sensitize our children, the young, the generation that is to come, because today there is a lot of knowledge out there about climate change, but you need to really, contextualize it and bring it into focus. And for that, we have started working on introducing climate change into our school curriculum. So we earlier had something called the environmental science. I feel will really encourage children. It will also inspire them, because we need solutions, and children are the ones, the future, who will come up with those kind of solutions only when they are aware of the dangers of climate change. They're really in tune with what it really
Absolutely.
means. Yeah, so these are just some of the interventions that we are doing, but there are many, many more. And
Sure.
we feel that Meghalaya can be a sandbox wherein we a lab, where we experiment with these kind of ideas. And I hope that one day, the rest of India, they notice what Meghalaya is doing, and they also follow suit.
So then I want to talk about the broader government role when it comes to innovation. You were talking about catching students young and catching them early when it comes to the focus and the thrust on the environment and sustainability. I couldn't agree more. Why is it crucial that the government, why is it crucial that ministers like yourself become so vocal when it comes to just environment and sustainability and really, climate change and everything else which is interlinked?
I completely agree with you. um, we are a very young state, and so being a young state, we have a very young cabinet, we have a very young chief minister, and that has given us the opportunity to really push the boundaries. And what I mean by saying pushing the boundaries is that we don't want the role of a government to be confined or restricted to implementation of schemes, and taking up and running schools. And so I think we need to see a shift or a transition away from a government that is involved in everything to playing the role of a facilitator that is totally immersed in policy making. I think that is what the role of the executive in the government and the government should be. And that's what we're doing in Meghalaya. We're moving away from that. We're bringing in a lot of community involvement. So it's only when you have the active involvement and participation of community that a complex problem like climate change can be solved. And that's how I think we are moving forward. So when you talk about the private sector, I think they have a huge role to play, and we must bring in their involvement. Community must come in and be involved because they are uh, the most important stakeholders in this whole thing. So, so yes, as a government, we are working into PPP model partnerships with the public sector, with the private sector, with community, and moving away from our role and going more into playing the role of a facilitator rather than the implementation agency.
At this point, could you call out the top trends when it comes to sustainability and the environment? Sitting where you are, you have the bird's eye view, of course. Of all of this month, we've been speaking to entrepreneurs who are innovating in this area when it comes to sustainability and focus on the environment. But if you could do some sort of a look ahead and say, perhaps this is something that will catch up. For instance, we're talking about electric vehicles and renewable energy, and you're seeing a lot of innovation there. What other areas could pick up?
Yes, I think that EV is one. Renewable energy is, of course, much talked about, and I think everyone knows that. I think it's also, green technologies, as I was talking about, bioremedial measures. I think that's a sector wherein we can see a lot of innovation taking place. Um, as we as Meghalaya have started going into phycoremediation using algae to correct the pH balance of our rivers. So I think that green technology is one, and we as a state in Meghalaya, we want to be the green Silicon Valley of our country or of the world, where we invite people to come and use our state with the kind of biodiversity that we have, and the kind of rich natural capital that we have, wherein they can come and innovate on such kind of green technologies, because that is the future. So, I I've been reading a lot about space exploration, colonization of Mars and the Moon. But if you ask me, I don't want to colonize and go, on a space and live on a space pod in Mars or on the Moon. I want to stay in where I am in the state of Meghalaya. I'm surrounded by bountiful nature, and that's what I want. And that's where I think everyone will realize that that ticket is not meant for all of us to go and colonize other planets. So we have to, as the theme for World Environment Day was, we just have one planet. And I think that soon that realization is going to come. So green technologies is definitely something that all of us must start working on.
James, so good having you here on the show with us. That was James Sangma speaking exclusively with the leaders of Tomorrow and Times Network. For those of you watching at home, if you want to know how you can get involved with doing your bit for the environment, here's how you can get in touch. Send us your ideas, send us your questions, all of that on your screens. Our contact details as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.